Hi, you guys. It's Yaz. And today I want to talk about something that's very, very common that people that have dealt with a covert narcissist have gone through, okay? One thing that you're going to realize when you are in a relationship with a covert narcissist or you're around covert narcissistic people is that you're going to feel very, very much alone, okay? You're going to have to deal with a lot of loneliness. And why is that? Because covert narcissists are extremely cold people. They have ice running through their veins, okay? They're not built like you. You have empathy, and that's why you hurt after dealing with a narcissist or being in a covert narcissistic relationship. Because you say to yourself, did they ever care? Why couldn't I ever connect with this person? Was it something that I did? And, I've dealt with that in my, past marriage. I was married 13 years to a covert narcissistic person. And at the time, I really didn't realize what I was dealing with. And you don't realize a lot of times that you're dealing with a covert narcissist till later on, till you're educated about narcissism and covert narcissism. So it's a very insidious type of abuse because you don't see it happening at the time. You're not taught this in school, in high schools, or something like this. You just realize, well, some people deal with things differently. Some people are more quiet about things. Some people, don't like to talk about their feelings or something like that. When you deal with a covert narcissist will never tell you completely how they feel. And this is why you will never connect with that covert narcissist. And I went through that in my relationship with the covert narcissist. This person, I'd sit there. I can't tell you guys how many times I used to sit there and try to talk to this person and try to be like, what's the problem? We're not connecting or something like that. And the problem is this. The covert narcissist had flying monkeys, who was his family, okay? He was very, very much connected to his family, connected to his mother. His mother is a covert narcissist who had control over him. But did I know that at the time? No, I didn't know that at that time. His mother used to guilt trip him, okay? Because she was a widow, she was alone, she wanted complete control over him and, her kids and everything like that. So when I got involved in the marriage, he was not completely open and invested in the marriage because when you get married to somebody, you guys, you have to let go of all strings. That means parents or anybody else. And you invest yourself and you become one together with the other person in a marriage. And my relation was like a triangulation because it was me, him, and his mother in the background. But I didn't know this. He used to talk to his mother when he was at work. So she was always filling his ear up with things. She didn't like me. She was a typical covert narcissist who was jealous of me. She didn't want, anybody having control over her son or, she wanted the control over her son. And this is what, diminished my marriage. So, but one of the things that, you have to understand when you're dealing with a covert narcissist is this. You're going to talk yourself blue in the face with that person trying to resolve conflict, and they're not going to become vulnerable and tell you exactly what's on their minds, okay? So when you're dealing with a covert narcissist and they have flying monkeys or supporters, which could be family, friends, exes, whoever else that they're close with, they're going to be filling that person's head up. So you're never going to be dealing with that covert narcissist alone. You're going to be dealing with them and whoever else is in the background bad-mouthing or smearing you. And those covert narcissists in the background do it in such a discreet way, okay, that they make you look like the bad guy, okay? They cause reactive abuse, making you look like the bad guy. And this was the situation that I had, because I used to have numerous conversations with him, about his mother or something like that. And I would say something like, well, I said, every time I talk to your mother, I feel like, all she wants to do is talk about the weather or things on the surface, which is very typical of a covert narcissist, by the way. They just like to talk about things on the surface. They don't want to, divulge any information about themselves. And he just snapped out at me and said, well, you don't have to talk to her, okay? And then for 2 years, he told her not to call the house, and he would talk to her, from his job and everything like that. And that made me out to be the bad guy, because how dare I talk about his mother and bring up anything when I was trying to resolve conflict. My father had even gotten involved in these kind of problems when he was alive, and he wanted to have like a family meeting with his family and us and try to work out the disconnect. And they wanted no part of it. They were like, who is he to try to connect us? Okay, why is that? Because a covert narcissist divides. They don't unite a family, period, dot, end of story. And his mother didn't want to unite. She liked the division. And this is what broke down my marriage, okay? I'm talking to you guys straightforward and upfront. And I didn't realize this through most of the 13 years I was married to him. Even after I left the marriage, I didn't even realize I was dealing with a covert narcissist till I had educated myself on covert narcissism. And I said, this is exactly what I lived, okay? And then I realized that I was surrounded by these people. There were people in my family who were covert narcissists. I had a friend who was a covert narcissist who tried to do me dirty. And I was able to spot it. And this is why I'm telling you guys, you've got to recognize, you've got to educate yourself, because education and knowledge is power. Once you know what you're dealing with, or who the fuck you're dealing with, you're going to know how to handle them, okay? Number one, you get away from them. But if you can't get away from them, you've got to handle them with kid gloves. And what does that mean? That means that you don't tell them one fucking thing personal about your life, because they will use it against you, okay? You've got a gray rock people that are covert narcissists that you have to deal with, all right? And I'm dealing with that now, back and forth. I was in court 3 years. Now 7 years later, I'm back in court for another issue. See, it never ends when you deal with these people, because all they want to do is make your life difficult. They don't want to do the right thing, okay? They have a vendetta, a vengeance, when you want to leave the relationship. And that was my case. I just couldn't take it. But I felt so alone, you guys, so alone. I had somebody who used to lay on the couch, put his back to me, fall asleep, and do this numerous times. And I was alone, okay? I was alone. And so many times I'd be like, can we talk? This and that. And he would totally gaslight me and tell me there was nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong, this and that. There's nothing wrong. When clearly there was something wrong, because he was unhappy. He was unhappy because of that flying monkey, covert narcissistic ex-mother-in-law of mine, okay? Who was not happy that he was not living close to her. Who was not happy that, he was married and he had a life and he was not focused 100% on her, okay? So if you're dealing also, you guys, with a toxic mother-in-law, go listen to my podcast on narcissistic mother-in-laws, because it's exactly what they are, okay? They guilt trip their sons or their daughters. So they have control over them. This is why I tell you guys, you've always got to look at the fucking family, because if they're close with their family, you most definitely will have to deal with these people, and they will be an influence on your partner, in your partner's life, and how they treat you, okay? It takes a very, very, enlightened person that sees that their family is toxic, and he didn't see it at all, okay? He was the kind of person, he was very, very passive aggressive. Used to tell me, no, nothing's wrong, everything's great. And then we go to a family party and he'd have a face on. And then I'd have my family coming up to me and say, is everything all right? This and that, he's not talking, this and that. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. He told me everything's all right, but obviously he's got a problem, okay? And this is what you deal with, because underneath, he is unhappy. He was miserable. He was insecure, okay? Like, we had neighbors next door. It was a nice couple, that wanted to be friends with us and everything. He wanted no part of it. And why was that? Because he was insecure of the couple's husband. He was just insecure. He had an insecurity issue, okay? So he didn't want any part of it, and I was pretty much isolated over here, okay? So, a lot of people, my lonely, and on top of that, I had 3 kids. I had 2 special needs kids. I didn't have much support from family or anybody else. Everybody was living their own lives, doing their own things. So I was left to have to try to figure this all out myself. But it created me I was depressed. I had anxiety. I started to question my judgment. I used to ask people, and I still to this day am dealing with this, because I'll ask people questions about my son's medication all the time. Do you think I should give this? Do you think I should give that? Because I'm second guessing myself from the emotional damage that I have endured. And I didn't just endure it in my marriage. I endured it in my childhood as well, because my father was a malignant narcissist who used to criticize, judge, and put you down. He had a lot of good qualities. I loved my father and everything like that, but he was a tough man. He was a dangerous man, okay? So we walked on eggshells. And I've seen other, covert narcissists in my family, with an air of, they're higher than thou. They put you down indirectly. They're sarcastic. They try to, feel superior, or, everything like that. So I've been around these people. And that's why people say to me, how do you know narcissist? Because I'm surrounded and I know what it is and I could spot it. And this is what I'm trying to teach you guys. But the thing is, whether it's family or it's not family, you're never going to be fucking connected to them. Why? Because they don't trust you. And why is that? Because of their trauma. The trauma that they went through. They won't trust you, okay? And that's exactly the way it was with my ex. He didn't trust me because he was conditioned by a covert narcissistic mother who said, don't tell her this, don't tell her that, everything was secret society over there. And that's what you have when you deal with a covert narcissist. They have a secret society, a secret thing that they have going on where they talk to other people on the outside that you don't know what's going on, okay? They leave you in the dark, okay? And this is exactly what I dealt with for almost my whole life, you guys, not just in the relationship. And I was alone. And when you're alone, a covert narcissist is going to make you feel alone. And then once you feel that loneliness, that's when, boom, depression sets in. And I was very, very much depressed. And people have outlets. See, the irony of all of this is after dealing with these fucking narcissists, you're the one going to therapy when it should be the narcissist who is going to therapy. Because they're going to make you feel like there's something wrong with you. And when you deal with a covert narcissist, they're going to say you're sensitive. Oh, you're so sensitive. Oh, you take things to heart. Oh, why are you bringing that up again? Oh, you're so negative, or something like that. Or they'll say, there's something wrong with you. You really need to go talk to somebody. This is how they break you down and try to discredit you to outside people and make you look like you're a mental nut, okay? Why? Because they're fucking jealous. Why? Because you're calling them out on their bullshit and they don't like it and they don't want to take accountability. Or what that covert narcissist is going to do is they're going to freeze you out, okay? And that's what I dealt with. Plenty of the silent treatments, not just from him, but other people in my life that I've had to deal with, okay, who I shouldn't mention on this podcast that probably are here trolling and listening, all right? They freeze you out, they disappear. The covert narcissist is not there for you in times of trouble. When you're going through something rough, they don't want to hear it. They don't want to be burdened. They tell you they're busy. They disappear. They're the ones who play the victim, okay? And they play the victim in court as well. Nobody plays the victim more than a fucking covert narcissist in court, in front of the judge. This is what they do. And people come to me and they say, well, why do they play the victim and everything like that? Because they know they get more bees with honey and people are going to sympathize with them. And that's where the power is. They want the power of the numbers of people backing them up because they feel sorry for them. And what they do is they make you look like the animal. You're coming at them. You're angry because they created that reactive abuse by, not being transparent with you. I'm going to tell you guys what it is. Why you got so angry at that narcissist. It's because they weren't honest. It's because they wouldn't own the truth. It's because they wouldn't validate what you were saying. They don't want to give you that power, okay? They're horrible, horrible, disgusting people. And I'm just going to say it like it is, because these people almost tried to fucking ruin my life. And, I started podcasting, you guys. I started basically in dating and relationships and talking about the game. And then I got more specific with it when we talk about narcissistic people. And it's one of the most important things to understand in life. It's about understanding human nature, okay? And once you're able to size up what somebody is, you're going to know how to handle them. You're going to have your self-worth back because you're going to say, you know what? The problem wasn't me. The problem was I was dealing with a fucking covert narcissist that was trying to put me down, trying to break down my self-esteem. No, no. And the way that I came back up, you guys, because I was falling into a black hole. I really was. I was very much, I was anxious all the time. I always felt like I dropped something on the ground. My outlet, see, this is what happens. They cause this kind of damage, and some people turn to drugs. Some people turn to alcohol or something like that because, they think there's something wrong with them or whatever. I turned to shopping, to get a lift because I had no other pleasure in my life. I was dealing with somebody who was, a cold fucking fish. He was a dead fish, okay? And he had no passion. And even my father, when I think back years ago, what my father said in the beginning before I got married, he said, this guy's got no passion. And I was like, you know what? He's right. Later on, I saw all these things, you guys. I mean, it was a disaster from day one for me because we got married in Jamaica because I didn't want to have a big wedding or anything like that because last big wedding we had in our family, there was a fight and everything like that. So I said, let's just go away, just you and me, and get married. Well, we went to Jamaica to get married, at a beautiful, beautiful place in Jamaica. I mean, 5 swimming pools, 8 rios, gorgeous. All he did was fucking complain about the place. Okay? I mean, that was my red flag. But I was young. I didn't have enough life experience and I didn't get it at the time. And he used to freeze me out, when we were there. He'd sit on the other side of the pool and be in the water. And he was so damn cold. I remember going to the elevator bank and I was crying because I was isolated and I was alone the week I was getting married down there. And some man at the elevator bank saw me and he said, is it the place or the guy? And I said, it's the guy. And he said, sorry, there's nothing I could do for you about that. And it was really sad, you guys. But what was sad was the fact that I didn't realize I was dealing with a covert narcissist. And why was he upset? And why was he giving me the cold shoulder the whole week we were getting married? Because his fucking mother wanted a big wedding, okay? And she didn't want us to get married that way. But the thing is, it was my wedding. It wasn't her wedding, okay? And this caused him to not be himself and be disturbed and everything like that, okay? And here's the irony of all this thing, okay? I gotta tell you guys, it's like ridiculous. Later on, we went on a cruise, like a couple of years later, and we stopped in Jamaica on the cruise ship or whatever, and he was so like he was so reminiscing about the wedding and everything, and I turned to him and I said, why are you so, why are you reminiscing like, oh, this is so wonderful and everything when you fucking tortured me the whole time that week, okay? But who knew, who knew? I just figured, okay, he's a difficult person and everything like that, but, maybe we could work this out. I didn't know, you guys. And this is why I tell you, if you have one thing that is really bothering you before you ever marry somebody, don't fucking get married, okay? Listen to me, don't fucking get married. But the point I'm trying to say is, you guys, I had to deal with that kind of loneliness and everything like that. And also when it comes to, the passive aggressive too, he was constantly sarcastic, constantly. I would ask him a question and he would say, yeah, you're right. And I was like, does he think I'm right? Or is he being sarcastic? Half the time I'm sitting there and I'm like, are you serious? Am I right? Or, and he was like, he give me that covert narcissistic smirk or something like that. And I said, he's being fucking sarcastic, but I didn't realize, you guys, that I was dealing with a covert narcissist, okay? Somebody who gives you indirect digs and says it's a joke. This is why you got to know those red flags so you could spot these fucking people, all right? And I'm getting passionate because I'm thinking about all that I've endured, and I'm trying to preach to you guys to spot this shit so that you get these people out of your life, okay? Because if you marry a covert narcissist and you have kids with them, it is one of the most, it's a life without parole, okay? Because you're always going to be dealing with an asshole. So they never, it's a totally different ball game when you have kids with a narcissist and when you don't, okay? When you have kids, you're going to have to still deal with that miserable person that is going to try to make everything in your life difficult. But I just wanted to give you guys a quick podcast about a little bit about myself and the loneliness that you feel when you have to deal with a covert narcissist, and how it could be really damaging, how it could depress you, how it could cause anxiety. And for other people, it's a lot worse. A lot of people are in therapy because they don't realize what's going on or connecting. And I've had to go to therapy as well with other family members that I wasn't getting along with. Okay, only to realize that the problem wasn't me. The problem was them. I was dealing with somebody who was narcissistic, okay? So the key is to understand narcissism, and then you will be able, you guys, to spot these people every which way. And they will really, like I said, a covert narcissist is going to put you in a black hole because they are miserable. They are unhappy, and you'll find when you're with a covert narcissist, you're not going to be happy with them, okay? Because they always have a fucking face on. There's always something bothering them. But a lot of times they're not going to tell you, okay? They sit there and they, give you a little smirk, or they tell you nothing's wrong, or they say, okay, or they're sarcastic because these people can't communicate, all right? They're trauma-based. Most of them have been through trauma, so they don't know how to open up. They don't know how to sit down and trust you. So they're going to be playing mind games with you, and you're going to be sitting there trying to figure out what the fuck is going on half the time with them. And what's going on is they're playing games because they can't be transparent. And they will make you depressed. They will not be affectionate. okay? They're cold people, cold. Get away from these animals, and they are animals, because you know what? They have no kindness in them. That's the difference. They don't have the Holy Spirit within them and say, you know what? Let me treat this person kind and gentle, and let me try to open up a little bit, and like mine just wouldn't be open with me because he was so damaged and conditioned by the covert narcissistic mother-in-law that he couldn't be open with me and sit down and talk, okay? So, even after we got divorced and everything, she ended up going to my daughter and saying something like, oh, yeah, your mother said it was a communication problem. That's right, bitch. It was a fucking communication problem because you conditioned your son not to be able to sit down and be open and be able to talk to me, okay? And that's exactly what it was, because you are a covert narcissist and your son is a covert narcissist, and you ruined a good marriage. Not a good marriage, but you ruined a marriage where there are 3 kids involved, okay? And this is how these covert narcissists will destroy lives, all right? And put you in that dark place of depression, anxiety, and they hide money too. I got to bring this up. Covert narcissists hide money, and so did my ex. And I didn't find that out till years later, that he was stashing money with his old lady over there, okay? So you got to be aware of these things too, you guys. All right, I'm losing my voice. But, I'm telling you guys a little bit about my life. There's so much more. I could write 15 books on this. This is how I know, you guys. I live this shit, man. And I'm trying to help you. So please heed my warning, okay? And you'll have a better life if you stay away from them. All right, I hope that helps. Please hit the subscribe button and please share the podcast. Have a great day, you guys. If you guys are having a problem in your dating or relationship, or you're dealing with somebody maybe that's narcissistic, you don't know if they're a narcissist, or you're just having problems, you're in a toxic relationship and you need some clarity on it, go to the link in the podcast description for my website where I offer email and phone coaching. If you have a quick question, just a quick question, and you want to get a video sent back to you answering your question, there's also a link there for Vizio where I will send you a personalized video answering your question. Hi, you guys, it's Yaz, and I want to tell you about my 2 books on Amazon. The first book is Regain Your Power. It's all about power and relationship. Who has the power in the relationship? And it goes into all of that, okay? The other book is Signs He's Not Into You, He's Wasting Your Time, okay? Check it out. It gives you a lot of good clues as to whether you're with somebody who's a real one or somebody who's just going to waste your time. You could read them both with Kindle's free trial membership. So check it out. Link is in the podcast description. Hi, you guys. I just want to let you know that the Game Exposed now has their merchandise available. Check out the link in the bio, and you could go check it out. There's cool hoodies, cool sweatpants, cool hats. So go to the bio for the link. And also, don't forget to follow me on Facebook at The Game EXP 123, and also on Instagram, The Game EXP 123. Okay? And have a great day.